Hey, what's up, everybody? It's BDF44. So this is the first non-human rights video that I've made probably in the last 3 months, maybe. Like I've just been on that, but figured I got a lot of time right now, and so I figured I'd just try to tackle this August Alsina, Jada Pinkett, Will Smith topic that's a bit dated to this point, but I'm bored, so I'm just gonna talk about it. My thing, first of all, I watched August Alsina's interview on with Angela Yee, and I walked away from that situation really appreciating the message that August brought and the energy, his overall energy that he displayed on the camera. I went there for one thing and came out of it with something entirely different. I think Angela did a fantastic job of making him comfortable, and he did a really good job of not allowing the conversation to solely be about Jada Pinkett and Will Smith. He was talking about everything but that, to be honest with you. That he was given a line of questioning as to which he answered it, and tried to keep it as discreet in terms of the details. But I think Angela did a good job of kind of getting him to kind of come out of that. From my standpoint, with all of that being said, two things. One, if you're going for that interview, prepare to be pleasantly surprised by the way he presents himself and what he says, because you're not going to get a whole lot of Jada talk. He's talking about his sickness. He's talking about some of the things that he's been through recently, and just an overall sense of where he's at in his head. So that's what you're getting from that interview, and it was a good watch. It really, really was. That was an introspective brother with a lot of sense. So I appreciated what I heard from him. My take on the Jada thing, as I said, he didn't really open up like that. He didn't really speak like that. But I do believe that he may have said a bit more than I would have wanted him to say if I were a party in this circumstance. The gist of what I understood it to be was that he got his heart broken. And, I guess whatever the circumstance was, he and Will Smith have had a sit down that according to him went very well. And he was essentially saying he wanted to be, the side piece to Jada Pinkett. Jada was obviously close to him. They were all close to one another. Everybody's, the whole family gets along. They all love him. He loves them all. So it's like it was a real family affair. And Jada obviously was appreciative of what he brought to the table. And Will Smith didn't seem to be bothered, I guess, by the way he was approached, and et cetera, et cetera. Of course, living in Hollywood my whole life, I've heard stories about Will Smith and Jada Pinkett. Rumors, a lot of them hold weight because you hear them in different places from different people, but that's about as much weight as it gets. At the end of the day, if you don't know individuals, you don't know what it is that they're doing. But I will tell you this, I've heard all the rumors, so I was not surprised by any of the latest stuff involving August Alsina and Jada Pinkett, because the word around town in LA has been that the Smiths are they have an open relationship, an open marriage, where they are tight with one another, but they have an agreement that they're okay with. So I've heard of swingers, I've heard of things like that. I've never been as social of a human being to kind of be involved in anything like that, to be completely honest with you. And I don't think that I have the brain or the stomach to kind of be involved in anything like that. I don't think that I'm wired properly. I think you have to be a certain type of person for that. I would imagine that their schedules kind of make it, and then their fame and their money kind of makes it so that they have a bit more understanding for certain things, or a different perspective on things than I do. So I allow for that. I wouldn't imagine if they were a couple working a 9 to 5 that they would probably have the same understanding as how to best make the relationship work. I think their perspective and their circumstances are very unique to themselves, and because of it, they have their own agreement that they can live with. If you were to believe said rumors, I've heard of them being bisexual, both of them. rumors have been flying around about Will Smith and um, Tisha Campbell's ex-husband. Like, his name escapes me right now, but I can see his face. He used to play for the Knicks, believe it or not. He used to play basketball um, back in the early '90s, if I'm not mistaken. And Dwayne Martin, that's his name. Yeah, most people, I don't think they know that, but he really did play basketball. Um, yeah, so there's rumors that he and Will Smith were lovers. Um, don't know if it's true, but it's been floating for a very long time. And Tisha Campbell, from what I understand, commented under some post involving one of those three people, Jada, Will, or August, and said something along the lines of the truth will come out and that kind of thing. So that didn't help with negating those rumors, and that was recently. So, and I've heard that Jada Pinkett, obviously we know of Jada Pinkett's relationship history prior to Will Smith. I don't know if it was a relationship, but I can certainly tell you that Tupac and Jada were thick as thieves. And if I was Pac, I'm certain that I would have crossed the line with Jada Pinkett back in Baltimore. I would have. I know me. We would have been friends. We would have been very, very close. So I'm just speaking for myself. But I know how close they were. I read the poems that Pac wrote for Jada that have been released and things of that nature. So we know how strong their bond was, and how she still carries a piece of him with her. And speaking for myself, I don't know that they ever end up getting married if Pac doesn't get killed. I don't know that you see Will and Jada if Pac is able to survive his shots. So with all of that being said, August Alsina is in the picture. August Alsina is an R&B artist, for those who are not familiar with him, who's had some very, very serious kidney issues, if I'm not mistaken, and some other physical ailment issues that have kept him kind of out of the scene lately. But he's back on his feet. He's back feeling. He didn't say 100%, but he's conserving his energy very well, and he's getting stronger by the day, from what I understand. Obviously, as I said, very close to the Smith family. He was involved. To make a long story short, he was involved. He did confirm that he was involved in some way. He never said what he did or how he did it, but he did say he sat down with Will and got his permission to get involved. And, Jada, from what I understand, kind of used him. It's the way it's being floated around. She spent as much time with him as she could under that agreement. But I think the young fella, August, wanted more. And obviously, that wasn't possible based on their marriage, based on their circumstances. So, I don't know if it was a situation where Will put an end to it. I don't know if it was Jada just saying, I'm tired of this young fella. I don't know how that went. Who knows? But for whatever the case, August walked away hurt. And he wrote some songs on a new album. And I think he had some songs on a previous project that were addressed to Jada. I think he did some cryptic thing where he used her middle name on a track, or something like that. It was very cryptic, but it was also very easy to read, if I'm not mistaken. He was sending subs her way, basically saying, professing his love and what his feelings were. So anyway, make a long story short, that came to an end, and young August just basically came out and said what he had to say, and was asked some questions and answered them in a way that probably would make some people uncomfortable if they wanted some things quiet. So I guess my whole point of view on August's conversation, or August's being honest, is that when you have an agreement with such famous individuals, you outing their agreement is selfish. I really believe that, and I understand that you could be upset or hurt or trying to free yourself. The way that he described it wasn't no harm toward them. He didn't want to speak from their perspective. He wanted to be very careful to just speak from his own point of view, and he just wanted to clear his heart. He said he would rather die than allow himself to be bogged down with withholding these real serious feelings in his opinion or what have you. He didn't want to live with that. He would rather let that out and deal with the consequences. And I'm just saying, from my perspective, well, I mean, how much does that cost? And who does it cost? What? Sometimes when we have truths that we feel we need to tell, we cause more collateral damage in releasing that energy from ourselves. I have a good friend of mine. I didn't think like this before we had the conversation. One of my best friends sat down and told me, when you tell the truth about something that you've done wrong to people that you care about, or you tell the world something that you did wrong with somebody else, while your honesty is admirable, what you're ultimately doing is choosing you and your peace of mind over others and their consequences that they are facing and the collateral damage that they may face. And he's right. I was raised to be an honest person and to be forthright and forthcoming with information if it pertains to my own wrongdoings, hold myself accountable and all of that. But my friend shined a light on me to a perspective that I just didn't understand, but I get fully now. That you are selfish, that you are choosing yourself, that you are unloading your burden and your pain and you putting it on somebody else when you do that. When you tell somebody secrets. The discipline is not in being forthcoming with things that you shouldn't have done, but more so just not putting yourself in a position to ever do them in the first place. That's the discipline. And that's where you hold yourself accountable. So that when you find yourself in certain situations, your truth isn't harmful to others. That's what it is. So for me, I've learned to kind of hold that true and kind of live my life understanding that. And I think that's what needs to be said to August. Yes, releasing your truth and getting that burden out of your system is important to help you. But you're causing pain and creating more mental anguish for others once you release yourself of that burden. That burden doesn't just dissipate into the world. You are now releasing it and placing it on the back of another soul. So how much did your peace of mind cost you? And will you have to pay for it later in karma? So that's something that I think needs to be said in regards to this conversation. It would have been best for August just not to get involved with Jada and Will, knowing that they probably would not want that information out into the world. Rather than to get involved with them, having it go left, and then releasing yourself of the burden of whatever it is that was done. Now you're creating an anguish and a problem for Will and Jada, because now they got to come back out and deal with whatever comes with that. Now that burden is placed on their back, and now they got to, you know what I mean, et cetera, et cetera. So I just understand August is a young guy, but there's a lot to learn about this particular thing, and he's going to have to. He's probably going to be told about that if he hasn't been already. Yeah, you released your burden, but at what cost, bro? Wouldn't it have just been better to never do that in the first place? Because once the secret's yours, it's your responsibility to hold it. And that goes for any wrongdoing that people are doing out here. You're doing this and selling that, you're putting this together, you know who did this. No, don't do any of that stuff if you can't hold the weight of the secret that comes with it. Don't put yourself in those circumstances if you know that you don't have the type of brain that can hold water, more or less. If you can't keep your mouth shut. Don't be there. Because when the secrets become yours, they're yours to hold. And then people ain't gonna want to hear nothing about releasing your burdens and your freedom and all that bull crap. You selfishly are causing issues for them that they didn't create for themselves, based on you opening your mouth to free your mind. Anyway, that's my little point of view on this little August thing. Like I said, that wasn't the focal point of the interview. If you watch the interview, I think most of you will appreciate it. That's like a good 5-minute part of a 35-minute interview. So he gets into a lot of stuff that makes a lot of sense, and I would encourage people to watch it for motivational purposes and just uplifting purposes, because that's really what that interview is about. But anyway, my name is BDF. Thank you for watching. I'm out.